This podcast is brought to you by our Anime Addicts community. If you want to be an anime addict and support the podcast, you can go to our website, www.AAAPodcast.com/join, or you can go to Patreon and support us on there. You're going to get all of our exclusive extra content, and I will say this is probably one of the times, more than ever, that the podcast does need your financial support because, well, times are tough. And even though Mitsugi won't be on the podcast today because he is house hunting, I will be here in spirit, loving you all the way. So again, help out the show. Do a good thing. Patreon or AAAPodcast.com/join. But even if you can't support the podcast, I hope you enjoy it anyway. And now, it's time to start the show.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at AAAPodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Hello and welcome to episode 779 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. My name is Mason. I'm so pleased to be here today. I'm a little beaten, I'm a little broken, I'm bruised, battered, I barfed this morning. It's been an ordeal. I'm having a rough go. We're fighting for our lives out here. And if you want to hear all about why I'm on the brink of death and could pass away this very episode, listen and subscribe to our Hobby Addicts and our After Parties, all our bonus content where you can hear the juicy details of why I am pain. I'm the embodiment of it today. But luckily for you and everyone else listening, to make your anime addiction worse, I have two great co-hosts who are going to do all the heavy lifting on this episode that I've done zero work for. And we are going to form a Beetleborg-esque triumvirate of just anime weebs that are going to talk about all sorts of things today, and it'll be a grand old time, so don't worry about it. As always, we got Caroline and Otaku both joining the show today. How are you guys doing? I haven't talked to you at all because, well, you'll find out why later, but how are you guys doing?
Than you at this moment, now that you have traversed a long way to come here and battled many hardships. Meanwhile, Otaku Gop and I have just been at home.
Excellent.
And not doing much.
Yeah.
But whatever we have been doing, you can hear about in our Hobby Addicts episode, which we just recorded.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, we're here. It'll be a good time. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling optimistic because today we are talking about the perfect anime website and what that entails. And why don't we have it, please? Thank you very much. As well as our final reviews, or I should say impressions, of this current anime season. So we will be doing an impression of Lazarus, Kowloon Generic Romance, The Beginning After the End, and Shirley, and Sword of the Demon Hunter, Kijin Getso Show. And after today, we will know all the shows that we have passed for the spring 2025 reviews. And then very soon, listeners, you'll get a nice link, a notification, a big old thing on our website, AAAPodcast.com, that lets you vote for the remaining shows that we have left to review. So subscribe to that, our Twitter, our Discord, all those places so you don't miss that link because that vote is super important to both us and you, and we really do appreciate it. With that said, I know we have a lot to get to today. Any other comments before we get to the big news of the week?
Are we still accepting Family Feud submissions, or?
Let's say yes. And if you go to our website, once again, AAAPodcast.com, and you click on the Family Feud link, if there even is one that exists and it doesn't bring you anywhere, well, then assume you just waited just too long. But as of today, please submit them. It's always a really fun episode and game show. So do that if you would be obliged.
I want to do better in promoting our anime club on our Discord. If you would like to join, a little club gets together every two weeks and discusses different shows. You can do so on our Discord. Just click on the Anime Club and let us know you want to join the club. It is that easy. And this week we will be talking about Barakamon. So that would be on
so good.
This Wednesday. So if you're listening to this when it gets published, you're not gonna be able to join, but you can join in the future clubs. So yeah, that's May 21st. We'll be getting together to talk about Barakamon. And we may very well change the date of Anime Club just to switch things up in the future, but we have not decided that yet, so it's still every other Wednesday. But yeah, please join us.
Heck yeah. All right, big news of the week. Let's hit it.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't even know what happened. I don't even know what year it is. Caroline, what happened this week?
Well, there is a little collaboration between Converse and Naruto Shippuden. It's kind of random considering Naruto Shippuden has ended years ago. But yes, they are rolling out a bunch of Chuck Taylor All-Star shoes styled after various characters. And I have a link right in my little notes here. You can check out some of the characters. Or some of the designs, that's what I meant to say. All Stars will be available in Naruto, Sasuke, Gaara, Kakashi, and Itachi styles. Some of the styles are also available on their Easy On form, which I think is like their kids' shoe. And there are a bunch of options for Converse by You styles with customizable character and emblem artwork. The custom Chucks will let you choose from Rock Lee, Gaara, Itachi, Minato, Naruto, Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke. The Converse X Naruto Shippuden line goes live on May 22nd at 9 or what am I talking? These not the things I'm trying to say. May 22nd at 7 a.m. PT. And beyond the shoes, there are also t-shirts, jackets, and backpacks as well. So I was taking a look at them, and as I've said before, me and merchandise, I'd like to be very low-key about merchandise that I get from different shows. It can't just scream, I like the show. It can't just be Naruto's face on a t-shirt, you know? But I was looking at some of these designs, and they are actually kind of cute. Like the Sasuke design, I think is cute. The Kakashi design, even like the Naruto design, which is like orange, but it's like a burnt orange, and similar with Gaara, it's like a burnt red and has some of his like sand canister design on the lining. I think it looks really cool. I mean, there are some louder designs like with Naruto's face actually on the side of it, which I'm not huge on. But it's a nice mix of stuff, and the prices don't seem too out of the way of normal pricing for Chuck Taylors. So, if you're interested in getting some Naruto merchandise, but you're also like me and you don't want to get too wild with what it looks like, these are some good options.
So,
good luck beating the bots.
Yeah. When does that
that's
drop?
true.
Did you say?
May 22nd. At 7 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay. So I'm showing the shoes on the screen now, and I was going to ask originally which shoe you would go for, but I have a much more pressing question, and that is at the very bottom on the Rock Lee one, which you know it's Rock Lee because you see his name in katakana, which is a nice touch. They show the laces going around the ankle and being tied in the back.
What the heck is that?
Is that how the kids are doing it these days?
I've never seen that before.
I've never seen that either.
That's new to me.
Okay, well, there you go. Maybe it's like how Rock Lee, he puts the weights on. Spoilers, I guess. Like, you wear these things with it's tied in the back, and then when you're like, oh, I got to go into sport mode, you like actually tie it in the, I don't know. Cool. So I think some of these are all right. I can dig it.
Yeah, if you want to, I know you posted the article link in our Twitch chat, but I also have the link to the actual collection line. So there's like more that they can see if you want to post that as well.
Okay, yeah.
That's only just a small selection of what's being offered.
Fantastic. Good to know for the sneakerheads out there, which is, I think, a lot. It's very trendy. Next, Otaku Cop, what do you got? And this is something, unfortunately, I'm invested in.
You're invested in this?
I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, yeah.
Okay. Well, I know that this Square Enix managed to both break the hearts and increase the hope in the same day as they revealed new screenshots for, yes, Kingdom Hearts 4. It is still a thing.
Oh my
ladies and
goodness.
gentlemen. It is still in development. So, Square Enix revealed several new screenshots on Thursday for its Kingdom Hearts 4 role-playing game. One of the screenshots, Mason, appears to show Mickey Mouse as a playable character. So, they had announced on Wednesday development on their Kingdom Hearts Missing Link smartphone game had been canceled. And that really, I have a couple of people in my life that are they are Kingdom Hearts truthers, and it broke their hearts for that announcement. And they have been waiting with bated breath at every possible event for something, anything, just a sliver of hope that Kingdom Hearts 4 was progressing. Well, they revealed that, back in 2022 in April was the first time that they announced anything about Kingdom Hearts 4. But they haven't given anything since. So the screenshots of the game that they posted were accompanied by a message. Mason, this goes to you. To our Kingdom Hearts community, we currently working hard on Kingdom Hearts 4 and will continue pouring ourselves into the game's development. We're dedicated to making this an experience that lives up to your expectations. We've seen how excited you are, and we are truly grateful from the bottom of our hearts. We are equally excited and can't wait to share more about Kingdom Hearts 4 when the time is right. Until then, we appreciate your patience and thank you for your continued support. So, Mason, the question is, when are we getting Kingdom Hearts 4? When?
I mean, honestly, I'm in no rush. I don't even
Can't
care.
rush perfection.
I don't-
Can't rush perfection.
Kingdom Hearts 3 burned me so bad that I'm still licking my wounds. So, I don't know, probably 2027. That's my prediction.
I think that's conservative. My estimate is that it's probably going to be something they'll hold for possibly next generation consoles, like maybe 2028.
Yeah, I
But
guess I
you
would
never
want
know.
to see, like, when were we getting these level of screenshots for Kingdom Hearts 3? And, like, similarly, okay, how long from those screenshots did we get that game release, Though I will say, Mickey Mouse has been a playable character in earlier installments. There's instances where you would die as Sora, and then you temporarily play as Mickey to, like, refill the gauge. So it's not the first time, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's an option, is what I'm getting at. So,
Question.
yeah. What is a Kingdom Hearts? Answer. Nobody knows. Next question.
No, because I have seen some like Kingdom Hearts things, like other people playing it and like images and stuff like that. It kind of looks childish. So is it an
Yes.
actually good game or
Yes,
what?
it's a fantastic game. Yes, to answer
Is
that
it
part.
childish?
I mean, it's basically it's if Final Fantasy and Disney had a baby. It does pull in elements from various Disney characters. There's a lot of callbacks to movies and characters that you encounter in your travels. But I don't know, Mason. Would you consider it to be childish? Because it's still got some pretty hard themes in it.
Kingdom Hearts 1 has a lot of Disney characters in it, and it has a lot of saccharine writing about friendship and following your heart and, all that sappy stuff that is just, cavity inducing. But I don't know if I'd call it childish, though it definitely has that veneer of a kid's game. I will just say Kingdom Hearts 2 is absolutely peak combat, and just as bad as the story and writing turns into, it is so like the ceiling of that game and what you can do is so high while being so still accessible to new players and new gamers that it's really impressive in a way that few games are. No, the series is not good, but it is worth playing at least the first two mainline games. Not any spin-offs, not any mobile games, nothing. Just it has its highs for a reason. It has its devoted fan base for a reason. And it's a silly game. It's stupid, but it's still, got a place in my heart, if you will.
That review kind of sounds similar of how I would review Once Upon a Time, the TV show. Similar because it has like a lot of the fairy tale retellings within it. But as it goes on, the writing just gets absolutely wacky and crazy.
Yeah.
The quality goes down. It's overstayed its welcome. And yeah, it kind of very much sounds like that.
That's why you should read the comic book series that it stole the idea from, called
Really?
Fables. There's a
I
comic
don't
book
know.
series written by
Is
Bill
it really?
Willingham called Fables, and they pretty much stole the idea for that show from Fables.
Damn Disney!
It's what they
Though
do.
They
They're
didn't.
so good at it.
Disney didn't actually. They acquired Once Upon a Time later on, I think. But yeah, damn Disney!
All right.
Yeah.
Are we ready for our main episode or main topic?
I think we're ready for the main episode.
All right.
The main topic.
So this main topic, the perfect anime website. So this was something inspired actually by a new listener and supporter recently joined the Discord named Crucifix, who is building a anime database that's currently still in the works, and it's fun kind of visiting the site and all the bugs and errors with it, because you can kind of see this built as, you know, members of the Discord are like kind of putting it through its paces and being like, hey, there's this issue and this issue and this issue, and like really kind of seeing behind the scenes of what it takes to actually make a functional website, let alone an anime database of sorts. So that website is browseanime.com. So it made me think like, okay, we have my anime list, we have anime lists, we had Kitsu and Hummingbird and all these different variations of tracking anime and finding news and scoring and all that stuff. And I was thinking like, if I could magically snap my fingers and build what I would consider the perfect anime website to compete and dethrone the Mels and Annelists of the world, like what features would I want? What kind of things would I want incorporated? And how could we make it better? So hopefully that was the prompt. You guys kind of accompanied me along, but we'll see how this discussion goes. So do anyone has some opening remarks on what they thought the topic was?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of knew it was going to be basically that idea. And I believe you brought this idea up to me like the last time we were on together, like as a topic idea, but then we came up with a different idea that we went with. But in that short conversation we had about this topic idea, I was a little bit nervous because I'm like thinking to myself, maybe this, but oh, Mal already has this, and I'm like, oh, maybe that, but I'm like, nah, it's not really that good of an idea, and I'm like, will I actually be able to come up with ideas for this one? Luckily, I was. But yeah, I was not sure because honestly, I can't really ask for much. Mal gives me whatever I need for the most part. I just had a few ideas that could be cool. That's all.
Yeah, that's all I'm looking for. Just something that we can elevate and be next level. How about you, Otaku Cop? Do you use, I guess, first off, do you guys use My Anime List and all those kind of sites? Like often, do you reference it, or do you just kind of catalog what you've watched? Like how much do you guys use these sites?
So I use Mal a lot of the time just to, because I really like the seiyus in Japan. So when I hear a specific character, I'm like, oh, that's got to be, Ri Takahashi. That's got to be Mamoru Miyamoto. It's got to be one of my favorite voice actors. And I use Mal mostly to find like what other projects did these people work in. But I have tried to get better about cataloging what I've watched since I came onto the podcast. I need to do better. But I also, it's clunky to me, so I added some of my suggestions for the perfect website came off of what I maybe don't necessarily love about Mal.
Yeah.
I think Mal is probably my most used website, to be honest. Other than like my streaming sites, I go to Mal all the time. Like I'm always cataloging. I'm always, as Otaku Cop said, like looking like, oh, that voice sounds familiar. Who's this voice actor and what have I seen him in? Yeah, so I'll do for that. And then like I'm on Mal practically every time we do a show prep for the podcast.
Yeah,
I always have to look at for reference material for main episode or main topics, for mailbags, for reviews. I'm always having to reference it. So it's definitely one of my more used websites.
Yeah, nice. And I know a lot of these ideas that we'll present might already be on some websites. This isn't a catch-all, but I know there's a lot of, not sharing, but stealing of ideas. For example, I know AniList, which is the site I mainly use, had a nice feature of like, it would hyperlink on a show's page all the streaming sites. So if you wanted to watch a show and it was on Crunchyroll, you could just click that and it would take you to that show's page on Crunchyroll to start watching. And then I saw that feature then implemented on Mal. So, there's a lot of sharing of ideas across the board here. But I think there's some broad sweeping things that we could just generally say, like, hey, the site doesn't crash, you don't get hacked on it. Just general, like, quality of life of this thing just works all the time. It's never offline. It never betrays you. And it's a site that works. It's quick. It's got a snappy interface. All that stuff that is, the hard part of making a website. Let's just assume it works really well. Agreed? No one's going to be mad at that. So I kind of split up what I would like to have into a couple different categories of what I'm looking for. And I guess starting with what I'm calling the data, like the actual resources and reference and the stuff I go to those sites a lot of times to use. The first thing I'd ask for is a converter or like equation thing that tells me if an anime is based on a manga, like what chapter or what light novel does it leave off on? So if I'm watching anime, I get to end of season 1 and I'm like, damn, that was real good. I'm going to pick up the manga. I can just like say like, oh, this episode ended at this chapter and like have that information. I think that'd be really nice. And yes, I know a lot of these things you can just Google, but that's the first thing. I'd want that.
No, yeah, like the idea is to have it be the one-stop shop, You can Google anything, but yeah. And also, oftentimes when you Google, you run the risk of getting spoilers for random things.
Yep.
Especially when you're looking at like, oh, Reddit says, oh, this takes place right after so-and-so kills so-and-so,
And you're like, thanks.
Yeah. At first I thought you were going to say, like a converter for yen to USD, because whenever the character says, like, oh, I paid 100,000 yen on this, and you're like, well, how much is that? And I think we are enough weebs that we are kind of generally thinking like, okay, divide the yen by 100, and that's about how much it is in
Luckily,
USD.
it's easy math.
But there's so many people who are not like that, and I would find that to be a very
So Caroline wants a
flying off. Like what you said.
An Americanized
like
plugin. So whenever you're watching an anime on your screen and someone's like, I paid a toll. It costs 437 yen to travel 536 meters. You want that plugin to like go in and transfer that to be like, it's actually $4 for 39 feet.
Absolutely.
And you're like, great. Now I can understand what's happening. Yeah.
It could just be on the sidebar, like just a quick calculation.
And I think that goes into like, it'd be cool to sync your streaming websites to this site. And I know other places do this, but say instead of forgetting to log a show, it just says, oh, Otaku, you finished episode 7 of this show. We'll mark that as complete for you. Perfect.
The lazy man in me would love nothing more for that to be a feature.
Yeah, so let's stay on that for a second, because as I so delicately said like this, I actually had that on my list. So connections to anime streaming sites, so that once you've watched a show on that site, it'll automatically update your anime list. And that would be good for like keeping track, especially with certain shows that, and sometimes it is different, across Mal and Crunchyroll. Like Crunchyroll will combine seasons, perhaps, and Mal will have it in different listings. So that would be probably problem with this feature, like that they would have to overcome if this was to be a thing. But in a perfect world where it works perfectly, that would be very helpful to have. But in fact, I actually would prefer to do it all myself, because clicking the added episode or clicking completed is very satisfying. But to have that be a feature available to people, I think is a good idea.
So I have a list of a lot of things, but I'm realizing just having this discussion will trigger new ideas. So one I just came up with is that, say you watched an episode, the ending song starts playing, it marks it as complete. If it's a weird episode where there's like a post-credit scene when there usually isn't, I'd want it to like flag me, but like, hey, you watched episode 6 of the show. Did you? There's a special like post credit scene. Like, don't miss it. No,
Although I wouldn't want to be
mandatory.
notified every time. Like, 'cause a lot of the times I do, especially if it's in like every episode, I would check.
But some shows like
So
don't
I would kind of
ever
get
have it.
annoyed. I would be annoyed that they keep on pinging me about this. So maybe in their episode list, they will have like a little asterisk.
Or
for
yeah,
it
like this one has
or
a
something like
special thing that's atypical or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I know that some of them are working with that, like ever since Crunchyroll put in the skip intro and skip credits buttons. Some of the stuff that has this stuff at the end, it won't skip over it, but some of it will. So I think that's a perfect idea to help prevent any spoilers, because more than anything, I think that you also want it to be able to tell you, like, is it actually content that's important to the show, or is it just some joke chibi thing at the end that's meant to make you laugh that you could literally just glaze over it and skip?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we kind of already me and Mason have kind of drawn from our lists already. Otaku Cop, would you like to take one from your list? And
Well,
talk
I
about it?
stole one from you,
Don't
but
steal!
no, I borrowed, inspired. I was inspired
Borrowed?
by you. No, but so for me, using Mal to go through and mark. I've been watching anime for almost twice as long as some of our listeners have been alive. So for me to really correctly have my Mal list, I just need. I don't, and I even put in my notes, I am not a web designer. I don't know what the right answer for this is, but there's got to be a better way to have your completed list filled out without having to individually click on every title, go to a drop down, go to completed, then you hit OK, and then your list is updated. Just some more streamlined way to go across various animes and just be able to like right click.
You're looking for
completed.
a bulk action.
Yes. I'm
Yeah,
looking for some type of bulk completion list.
Yeah, like if you're actively like staying up to date with everything that you're watching, then it's not a big deal. But I can definitely see that for people who are trying to build up their lists retroactively, that must be really annoying. So if maybe there was just a search function, you just type in the name, you click on it, you type in a name, you click on it, and then bulk watched. That would be a good idea.
So that also inspired me just now. So obviously,
Inspiring.
when you guys are also inspiring. So a lot of these sites, you can easily merge your list from one to another. Like I had a list on Mail for a while, and that was 1,000+ shows. And when I went to AnyList, that would have been a pain to recomplete them all. So it lets you merge from other sites. But I was thinking, say you don't have any site or any list to begin with, like starting up an anime list can seem daunting, especially if you've been in the game for a while and you're like, oh, I've watched 80 shows, like it'll be pain. Obviously having a bulk would help, but what also might be nice is I was thinking, when you get a new computer, there's websites like Nine Night where you go there and it just says, hey, here's like 50 different apps you might want to install on your computer. Instead of going to all of these things individually, just like check a bunch of them and it'll do the install. It might be good to have, like, for new users with no list, like, here are 100 super popular anime. Like, just check all the ones you've seen and we'll mark those as complete, just as like a good starting point to get you into the ecosystem.
Although, you could just go to like the top anime of Mal and do that.
Sure, but there's also like top versus like very common ones. I guess it's the same as popularity, but it's an idea. It's going off that. What else you got, Caroline? Before we steal any more of your ideas.
So that actually would segue me to to one in particular on my list here, which could feasibly be coming as like an actual feature, but just because I've seen it implemented in different sites already, is an AI search feature, where you can search for anime by specific details rather than just like name, air date, genre, or popularity. So for example, in this search bot, on my list, for example, what are the anime with the black haired, bland personality OP protagonist
crash
that
the
has been
website.
isekai into a magical world and forms a harem that I have seen. Like, just give me the list of everything that I've seen or have not seen yet. And it will boom, 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 because there's so many of them.
Yeah. You could
or
even have
like lists.
trace.moe like incorporated. Like that's a site where like you can upload a JPEG or an image from an anime and it finds the show for you. So someone in Discord posts a funny GIF and you're like, oh, I'm not cultured enough to know where that's from. You can just drop it into the website and it will pull up where it comes from.
Yeah. Or there are so many instances where people are like, well, we heard the Anime Addicts talking about a show that was like had these details, but I can't remember what it was called. And if they can just plug in those details into a search bot, they're, the bot would probably be like, are you thinking of this show? Or something like that. Another example would be like, list all the action shows that I have rated 8 out of 10 stars that has Mamoru Miyano in it, or something like that. And also, like, maybe create a list of 5 current seasonal anime that I should watch based on what I've shown to like or dislike. And I am really jazzed about the idea of this because, as I've mentioned, like, going to Mal and show prepping, sometimes it's really difficult. Like, for example, we're trying to look for a specific, if we have like a topic about, I don't know, band shows, and I'm like, I don't know, what kind of band shows have I seen? And if I can just search in, like, show me a list of all the band shows that I have seen, that would make it so much easier instead of having to sweep through my list, which I do so frequently, you know?
Yeah. And like you can search. So that's one like kind of filtering thing that I just want more of. I can like filter all the shows of like a genre or a tag in, Mal or something, but I can't search my list in quite the same way. And I can't make custom tags to say like all the things and filter by that. Like there's a lot more filtering options that I'd want to see. I want to see numerical value on all lists. I want to see, I want to be able to sort by staff, by producer, by studio.
Yeah.
Like I just want all these options, not in a super cluttered, UI vomit way. Like I want everything to be snappy and intuitive and something that looks so good that even though you have the options to change it and customize it, you would never want to because it's just such a good looking site. Like, yeah, that's asking for a lot. But I, want all these options and I want to see, I want to make groups of people that I follow and I want to see what they scored a show and just have a smaller community to just talk with them about shows that I've seen. I want like the community aspect to be there, but not so overwhelming where it's like the community is everyone else on the site.
Yeah.
I want to be able to filter to just me and my friends and just see what other people rated this show that I liked, or just I want to see the people who read the manga. What did they rate the show? What did they rate the manga? How does that compare? I want data. I want all those values. I want to be able to score by 1 to 10, 1 to 100, 3 smiley faces. I want the whole gamut of scoring things the way I want. I don't know. What else you guys got?
Yeah, Talk a Cop, you want to go next?
Yeah, so just thinking about all the different things that we use, one thing that really annoyed me about Crunchyroll was when they disabled comments. Like there's no discussion of episodes before or after you watch it. And the problem is if you go onto certain websites, again, just like with Wikipedia or anything else, you run into spoiler territory, and then there might be some content that's, someone might be losing their mind, and it's problematic or very offensive sometimes what they have to say. So I would love for there to be, again, going back to the AI filter, just using the technology we have to filter out harmful, problematic, spoilerific, just maybe even break it up so that you have a spoiler comment section for people who have seen it and non-spoiler comment section for those who haven't, just so that you can, like, if you're thinking, oh man, the website recommended that I watch X anime, but I don't know if I'm going to like it. So I would like to be able to at least see what people have to say about it without having the whole thing spoiled for me as to whether or not I want to dive into it. And at the same time, like I said, the forums can get pretty nasty on certain sites. So let's protect the younger viewers with a little bit stronger filtering.
We want to get into some hot, contentious ideas because I feel like we've been playing it safe so far.
Spicy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me just get Caroline's camera back up and running for a second because she was frozen.
Oh,
'Cause
did I go down?
No, I broke it. I accidentally shut down
Nathan.
Discord. Okay. Here's a couple ideas. Hopefully they go over well. Hottest one up first. There's a lot of like average scores for a show. I think if you have seen less than 50 anime, your scores don't count in the overall averages.
Oh, your
That
opinion
is
doesn't matter.
brutal.
Your opinion does matter. It just doesn't impact the global ranking of a show. Nothing
It
against
That is
matters, but it
spicy.
matters to no one else but you.
Yeah,
That's
it
what you're saying.
statistically doesn't matter. Are we okay with that? Do we think
I
that's
don't
a
know,
good
that sounds
idea?
Pretty. That's like pretty dystopian.
I don't know. What if the only anime you've watched is One Piece, so the total number of episodes you've seen are well more than 50
If the
animes
only
worth?
anime you've seen is One Piece, that's more of a reason to not be on the.
You have. What if you've seen 100 shows, but you've never watched shonen, and you go to, I don't know, Death Note and say this is far better than One Piece, and you make that decision.
I think once you pass 51, all your scores. I guess they should retroactively be active. I don't know. So I think.
But you have to. They can be, but you have to go and vet them first.
So
like,
one of my
did your mind
ideas-
change?
One of my ideas is annual score reconsideration options. So like a year and 2 years after you first watch a show, the site will like ping you and be like, "Hey, Caroline, 2 years ago you watched I don't know, After the Rain, and you gave it a 7. Like, is that still your score? Or like, now that you've sat on it, would you like, because I love scrolling through my list and coming across some show and I'm like, I gave that an 8? What? No way. And like smashing it down to a 6 or something. Like,
Yeah.
I always like, because, you know, my taste change and my just general knowledge and appreciation of things. So I want to see that. And more importantly, a lot of shows I've rewatched and my scores kind of have drifted across those rewatches. And then I want to say, hey, I gave, I don't know, let's say Odd Taxi a 9, but the first time I watched it, I only gave it a 7. And like see that, oh, actually, by my third rewatch, I grew on it kind of thing. I want to see that. I want to see an option to toggle a score of a show based on if someone watched it on a sub or a dub. And I want a score for the dub performance. I want to know, like, if the dub and subs are kind of equal, if people are enjoying the dub a lot more than sub. I want to see that option as well. I think that would be
That is a
interesting.
brilliant idea.
Now, I don't expect
I-
listeners to, or viewers to watch both the sub and the dub and give a comparison. But if I can see that, like, in general, one is trending higher than the other, that might help lean on, which version do I watch? What do we think about that? Is that...
I don't know. Like, okay, so I'm gonna compare this to how people review anime versus the manga that they based it on.
Which
Because
I would also
feel
want to
like-
see.
Yeah, but I feel like with manga, they're far more. I don't know. I feel like the manga scores always outweigh the anime scores. Like they're always higher. And I don't know if that's because there might be less manga readers than there are anime watchers or what. But I feel like the comparison is not, I feel like it's not going to be accurate, you know?
I think part of the problem is that if you were to ask a devout manga reader, I think they always find themselves more invested in the series than just an anime watcher.
Yeah.
So their opinions are always going to be stronger. And I think a perfect example, my brother-in-law, right? He is, to go back, a One Piece fanatic, but he hates the anime. He is like, you should read it, stop watching it, read it, stop watching it. Like he just is adamant I should be reading it. And there's a lot of people in the One Piece community that seem to kind of feel that way. They feel very strongly that the product is superior in manga form, and they won't even watch the anime. So,
Or Here's another example. Like, I feel if people are watching an anime dubbed, that's their typical go-to. I mean, for the
Mhm.
most part, that is what they gravitate towards. Um, so they're really not all that critical on like if it's a bad dub, they don't really care. It's just how they watch it.
Right, it's how they
But
consume
if
it.
you're a person that might go back and forth, depending on the quality of the dub, then you will be more susceptible to a show that has a terrible dub. You're gonna be like, "What? The score was so high on the dub version, so I'm not sure why it sucks." And I don't know,
That's where I'm
but
saying
I
like
can see what your idea is
I
coming
want the
from.
comparison, and I want like a separate like people who watch the dub. How good was it? You know, it doesn't factor into the overall score, but it's just was this generally a good or lukewarm or awful dub? Just to have
Mm.
try to get a more objective standard than it was good or not.
Mason, I almost
Or
feel
maybe
like your motivations for this are are filtering it down the overall anime community to find your anime community, the
Yeah,
like-minded maisons, if you will.
I want.
That's who you're trying to get in touch with
I mean, I
more.
also want a whole like people who have watched I want to find out how indie shows are. So like say I want to watch, I don't know, And Yet the Town Moves, a fantastic anime that not many people probably have seen. I want to know like so like for example, Death Note, super popular, pretty much everyone has seen Death Note. I would say if you go to the interface and see, show me everyone who's seen Death Note. What's the average number of shows they've seen? It's probably going to be pretty low because a lot of people start with Death Note. Same with Attack on Titan. A lot of people who've watched Attack on Titan haven't seen much. So it's going to say, hey, the average number of shows that someone who has watched Death Note or Attack on Titan is probably like 17 or something. Because while there's tons of people with loads of shows they've watched, there's probably a lot of just new people have seen 5 or 6 anime, watched Attack on Titan, and that's it. But someone who's watched And Yet the Town Moves, I guarantee you they haven't only seen 17 anime. Like you're watching
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of anime to get to those diamonds in the rough. And I want to see what shows, people find at the end of their journey. I want to see those indie shows and be drawn to them. Once again, maybe I'm just trying to find
That's
the
an
Masons of the
interesting idea.
world. But I want to I know I love data.
It's
I
your
love
niche score. It's
Yeah,
a niche
exactly.
score. I think that would be a good feature.
and I guess similarly to throwing out like the first 50 shows or the first 50 scores of anime, users with overwhelming high or low scores should also be thrown out of the pool, whether it's
Oh my
by
gosh.
the people like brigading against anything that's not Full Metal Alchemist and rating it a 1 so their precious baby boy can stay at the top, or the people who are just like, everything is awesome, not in an offense to otaku, but everyone who just rates everything an 8 or 9 or 10 out of 10. And you're like, you're allowed to do that, but your opinions don't matter if you do that.
What? So an average opinion cannot stand here?
I'm saying if you are like, oh, an 8 out of 10 means I finished it, and I don't watch anything less than a 7. And you just rate everything an 8 out of 10 or above. Like, you're just skewing the data in a way.
So we should have a weighted and unweighted score then. You can't just say,
Well,
okay,
you
this
could have it
person's
weighted by
having
a
too many
user.
8s out of 10s. They're only watching what they like, generally.
No, it means they haven't dug deep. They don't know. They don't know
Oh
any
my
better.
god. You're such an
Or-
elitist.
Or maybe they're just a little more positive than you.
No, they're not.
Maybe they just find a little more sunshine at the end of that rainbow.
There is a break point where you can look at their list and compare it to the masses and the popularity. And if this person's watching their Attack on Titans and their Death Notes and their Mob Psycho 100s and all watching really good shows, yeah, let it happen. But the second that they skew too far from the curve, not that they, no, we're not doing this. That we're not.
Mason, not
We're
everybody
not
can be a host
euthanizing
on an
people
anime
who have-
podcast and watch garbage all the time.
I know, that's fair. I'm just saying there's a trend. You can tell when someone is just brigading or being overly positive in a way that is impractical. So that one, I'm not trying to dissuade anyone, and that just forces scores to fall in line with how I think. I get that. We're not going to do that. I'm just saying it should be a factor. If someone is giving 50 10 out of 10s and nothing else, we have to have a word with them. They're banned.
I'll give you that.
Your ideas are ever so slightly dystopian, Mason.
Yes, good. As dystopia.moe. That's the name of this website. I hope you guys know. Okay, something more positive. What do you guys got?
Okay. Here's one more I got from my list. I think that might be it for like the list I have written here. So my ideal anime website would feature in-depth episode synopses, so I can keep myself from forgetting plot details and things that I should already know as a viewer. Because, like, for example, Apothecary Diaries. I love the Apothecary Diaries, but there are so many. There are a lot of episodes. There are a lot of episodes that feel like filler, and they have ever so slight little details and things that you kind of just forget about. And then it kind of adds to your opinion, like, oh, maybe this is what's happening, but I'm also not sure. And who's this person again? What specifically have they done as a character? And then sometimes I'll go to Wiki and try to figure that stuff out, but you run the risk of, one, the Wiki not being very detailed, or two, too detailed and spoiler. So what I really just need is like reminders of what has happened and what I should know already at this point, or at a point of my choosing. Like if I can clear it, like okay, so like say I can say I'm on episode 8 of this 12 episode anime. Show me the information only up to that point. That's what I want.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I think a lot of these features we would leave up to the user to toggle. Say, hey, don't show me any spoilers, and just have that as an option. Show me the dub versus sub score. Like, these are all things that aren't hard-coded in, and the site should be very customizable by user. I want to be able to choose if I go with the English name, the official Japanese name. I want to be able to choose what cover image I have for each entry. Like, I want to be able to customize the site to my choosing. There has to be that flexibility, I think.
So I just had something pop into my head too, on the more positive side of things. So I would like this website to function a little bit like, say, the PlayStation store does, where, if you watch, they give you tokens, basically like achievements that you keep to your profile. So like, completed the One Piece, watched all of X anime in a dub. You get all these different little trophies for your viewing habits, but because it's tied into whatever you use to consume the media, it can actually see that you've done this, like track your hours watched, the episodes completed, so you can't just like skip through to get a badge. It tracks it so that you actually have to put in the work to be like, I am an Apothecary Diaries completionist, and here's your badge.
What was the website? Was it
like Anime Plus or something?
Mailbag?
It was a site that had statistics where you can plug in your URL of your page, and they can give you like little trophies.
Yeah, they'd be like, you've watched 80% more hentai than a normal person. You're a certified pervert. You've watched over 500
the tentacle
shows.
monster.
Yeah, like,
here you go.
It had fun little things and be like, hey, you tend to prefer this genre or this studio.
Oh, yeah, it is anime.plus. Here, I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah, so like that's a fun little thing.
Yeah, I just sent it to our chat.
What was something you said had inspired me.
That I said or he said?
What Otaku said. I'm sorry, but I don't remember what it was.
Trophies,
Trophies,
like
yeah.
the PlayStation Store.
No, I lost it. It's in the.
It was fleeting. Mason's
You're gonna
working
think
at
about it in the
60%.
middle of the
halfway
next
through
night.
impressions and would be like, it was this.
Yeah.
And no one will know what I'm talking about. Let's see. What other stuff did I have on my list? I want a better collection of telling me other related entries into a series and watch order. For example, if I go to Kingdom's my anime list page because I'm watching Kingdom, and it says related entries, Kingdom Season 2, based on a manga. Like, that doesn't tell me that there's 5 or 6 seasons of this thing and tell me, like, the total episode count. If I go to Bakemonogatari's page, it doesn't list, like, hey, here are, like, 2 often recommended watch orders. Maybe start here with this kind of thing. Like,
oh, that would be perfect.
That would be
for
perfect.
like
Instead
a
of someone
Fate
being
franchise
like, yeah,
too.
Fate.
Like, where do you start?
Go play the games, or start with this, or have like community ranked. Try like this way or this way. Do I watch Haruhi in chronological or broadcast order? Give me some ratings. See what the people say. Have it all in there, not in your face. Don't open up a web page and have 70,000 tabs of data for the hardcore Masons to filter through, but have it as an option on side stuff to let people, customize their experience. And also, while we're shitting on Mel, let's not make it look like it's from the 90s. Can we have some modern graphical, like, aesthetics and interfaces, please? Come on. Oh,
I've gotten used to how it looks. If it were to change, I wouldn't like it.
I hate Mel so much.
Mason feels it's long past time
you're
for
an
a rebrand.
AniList user.
I know. I'm a superior
human. You
human.
can't complain about Mal anymore.
I know. But, Mel, it's not all bad. I still go there sometimes. I just want some consistency is what I'm saying. But there's some
Yeah,
some
that's
good
all
stuff
my
out there.
ideas.
Okay. Any closing thoughts? I guess what would we call this? Or what would you each call your fancy
Ooh.
anime website? Because I hate
I
that
wonder.
AniList is called AniList because it sounds too close to my anime list. Like, I get that you want to have the anime essence in there, but it's...
I don't know. My anime list is like it's everybody
too...
knows what that is. Even if they've never been to my anime list, when you say it's my anime list, you're like, okay, it's a list of anime. You know what it is, and even to the newcomers, they know what that is.
And it has a great Mal acronym. Like, it's pronounceable. You type it, people know what you're referring to. It's got that going for it. It's got that name recognition.
Even if I were to, make my own website and come up with my own name, I would still call it, oh yeah, it's on my anime list.
My anime list, but better.com.
Keep on saying that.
Okay.
That's something I would pay somebody to figure out. I'm not creative enough to come up with a cool name that abbreviates properly for that.
Okay. Well, fair enough. We're not those kind of idea people, but I think
out of all the
across
ideas
board,
that we have listed,
Yeah.
what's the number one idea that you want to see? Because I am begging for that AI search. Like, I would kill for it right now.
It's not quite AI search, and it's not what we talked about, but I know it'd be fun to have an audio version of the search, because I know there's a lot of times on this podcast, I'll say something like, I just finished watching, I'm trying to make up a name of Katanagatari or something, and someone's like, Mason, what was that name of the show you said in the episode? Like,
something
I typed in
Gatari, and you're like Monogatari, Heike Monogatari.
What was it again? And
something Gatari.
Someone can just plug in my mispronunciation, and someone's like, did you mean Katanagatari? And you're like, that's what it sounded like he said. Or, there's some weird shows sometimes, and people are like, I can hear what you said, but when I go to type it, it doesn't relate to any words I know. So that'd be cool. I don't know. There's different features I want from a podcasting standpoint of getting data and sorting and filtering and stuff. And there's just a personal, hey, it'd be neat if I could do this as a regular user. So I don't know. I just want one that works. That's what's important at the end.
Are you
of the day.
unhappy with AniList?
No, AniList is fine. It's just when you become complacent with something, you breed mediocrity, and it can always be better. Honestly, the only reason this whole topic came up, besides my intro, was for April Fools every year. AniList lets users make Microsoft Paint versions of all the covers, and they become the official ones for a couple days, and it's so hilarious. I want that to be a thing. I want to be able to toggle back to that and see that as my permanent all the time.
I didn't even know that was a thing that they did.
Anyway, I think this topic is random this game. I think we came up with some good ideas though, and this was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me on this. Let's get into our news break before we do a super short, or our trivia question before we get into our super short news break, because I did not prep anything.
Right. Yeah, let's see. Our in-show weekly trivia question for this week. The anime Anne Shirley, which is based on the novel Anne of Green Gables, takes place in what Canadian province? And we'll give you the answer after the news break.
Mandy, I've got a great idea.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, what if, now hear me out, what if we did additional episodes? I'm talking hobby addicts, after parties, maybe even hentai episodes, if you're nasty.
Well, I mean, we already do all of those.
Hold on, what?
Yeah, we've been doing that for like years.
How did I not know about this?
You've been in like a ton of those episodes.
Come on, Mandel.
My name is Mandy.
Okay, Medward. You know I don't pay attention to things like that.
Like yourself speaking.
Huh? Well, I'm glad now we're making millions off these extra episodes.
Actually, they're only like a couple bucks a month.
Wait, what?
Yeah, if you go to AAAPodcast.com/join, you can sign up to get access to all of our extra podcast goodness for just a few bucks a month.
Whoa, that is a steal. All right, so where do I go to sign up?
I just told you. AAAPodcast.com/join. And besides, you're in those episodes.
Huh?
Just go to AAAPodcast.com/join already.
All right, and we are back to the podcast. We're back. When we last left you, we had a in-show trivia question, and that was in the anime Anne Shirley, which is based on the novel Anne of Green Gables. It takes place in what Canadian province? The answer is Prince Edward Island. Is that even a province?
Yes, it's a province. It's the smallest province of Canada.
Tiny.
It's also the birthplace of the author of Anne of Green Gables.
Wow. See, you learn stuff all the time. I didn't know that.
Yeah, me neither.
Awesome. Thank you. Mailbags. That's what we got going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means I need to play this song.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime. Anime.
Mailbag.
Before Otaku reads it, I was long in coming back because I had a bloody nose, and I'm just becoming the most anime character of all time. Just anyway,
Was
my
it
death,
from, like,
my death
that-
looms imminent.
Nope. Was it from like being up in the plane and all
Yeah,
that?
just being in a dry ass plane for 8 hours. Go ahead,
also dying
Otaku.
on the way.
Sorry.
You just keep on dying.
Yeah, I think Otaku is
you are
muted because his light is red, which means
Yep.
he's angry.
I'm back. I'm back. My bad.
No worries.
So you too can submit a mailbag at AAAPodcast.com. Just click on the mailbag button. Today's mailbag comes from Cinther, and it says, "Good day, my addicts. It seems we are hitting a peak for band anime at the moment, so I was wondering if you could make up a concert of 3 bands from anime. Who would they be, and who's headlining? Doesn't need to be directly from a band show, but must have had a performance during an anime." And
Great. Go
so I'm a sucker for strong female vocals. You will find on my Apple Music playlist, the majority of the music I like is usually female artists or female-led bands. So I chose the Blackstones from Nana, Carol and Tuesday, because I actually think the singing in that is actually very good.
But
And
wait, who from Carol and Tuesday? Because there's like 1,000 bands in that show.
Carolyn, like specifically,
their
Carol and
main
Tuesday.
unit. Gotcha.
Their main unit.
I don't know if it was the fucking bullshit mermaid folks.
I mean, that was a phenomenal song, and it was definitely a meme for a while. But no, just regular old Carol and Tuesday. And then I also chose Fran Chushu from Zombieland Saga. And I said in the notes, if you're sensing a theme, I really like bands with strong female vocals. I feel like each one has their strength. So in my perfect world, if these 3 went on tour together, they would rotate headlining at different cities because they're all just so much fun to listen to for me.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yeah. I kind of had to think about this one. I kind of landed on some very basic answers because I've only seen so many music or band shows, and also I was I was trying to think of something good, but it was not really coming to me. But I just landed on Toge Nashi Togeari from Big Girls Band Cry just because I really like their style from that show. Beat Komachi from Oshinoko, but the original Beat Komachi with because I'm not dealing with Ruby and
Not those
her
fake
two-
wannabe hacks.
Yeah. It has to be Like, it's not even Beat Komachi. It needs to be
Yeah.
And then whatever the band is or will be named from Rock is the Lady's Modesty, because I'm not sure if they came up with a band name yet in that show.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so Rock Lady will be the first, so like the opener, just because like they are the newest band out of the 3, and also they don't have a singer, so they're still trying. I feel like that will require some people like easing into them, and then Bikomachi will be last. Like, they will be the headliner. Because as I mentioned, she is she has the star power. She has the most star power out of these 3 groups. So, yeah. And maybe it's just because I conflate with with the singer or the duo from the opener, Yoasobi, because I is singing, or I looks like she's singing in the opener. So I kind of think, the singer from YOASOBI, she's the voice of but she isn't. So that but that's just how I think about it in my head.
Okay. I
Do you have any
didn't
ideas,
look
Ethan?
at this question at all till a second ago, but I guess if I'm going based on music that I would want to listen to, we'll start off with the beautiful boys from Given, which, despite my misgivings with that show, I really enjoy the music in it. Let's see. I want to pick something that you guys didn't pick.
How about, because I was thinking about this kind of as a joke, But My Boyfriend is a Pilot by Minmay from Macross.
That's a pretty good one.
Just that, not even like a full performance, but just that song.
Yeah, let's give respect to the K-On! Girls. We'll put them in the second slot. And obviously to close the night with pure, unadulterated rage and anger and hatred for all of mankind, it's got to be the band from Detroit Metal City, and have Krauser just pee on everyone in the audience as he sets fire to his own bangs. I don't know. You can't
I'll be
have
honest.
a metal show without DMC.
I at first thought you were going to say a Gretzko.
That'd be a good one for like just the metal demographic. But no, we're going to go with that lineup. That's pretty good. And obviously Beck could have made the list, but if I had seen more of Rock as a Lady Modesty, I'd probably put them on too. They slay. They slap, as the kids say. But
have you started that?
I've watched a couple episodes.
Yeah.
It's a good time, but
I'm sad that we weren't there to defend it last week.
it's okay. Well, let's. I didn't even listen to last week's episode, but let's get to the reason why we are all here today. That's impressions.
Today, we're going to be doing impressions.
Impression time, believe it!
This is the final week of impressions. So far, we have passed to review Gundam G-Quox, 2B Hero X, and Witch Watch. That's it? That's all we've done? Wow.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, there are still 3 slots left open for reviews. Whatever we pass today will become reviews. Anything we don't, if we don't get to 6 slots, we will have additional slots open up for the listener's choice. Once again, when this episode comes out, we'll have a list of all the shows that we didn't pass that aren't like seasons 5 or anything past season 2. And you'll vote for them. The popular ones will make the list and be added to our review queue. If we don't get to 6, we'll probably also have a slot for a retro review. So if the season is really not up your alley, make sure you vote for that as well. And if there's any shows that you really want reviewed, just that's your time. That's the way to make it happen. And since Caroline and Otaku and myself had the honor and prestige of being on the final episode of Impressions, we get to have one last like bid and like push and like say, hey, this didn't get passed, but strongly consider this one, for your consideration kind of thing. So I think we all know how this works. The first anime on our impression docket today is Lazarus. Who picked this show?
I believe that was me.
Okay, well then, what is this show?
Well, I put this high on my impressions list because it was definitely one of the more, people were looking at this show the most out of a lot of the shows coming out of this season. So naturally, I just put it at the top of my list without really knowing too much about it. But I do know that it's a Watanabe show. And if you're not familiar, he did Cowboy Bebop and also Samurai Champloo. So at the very least, the show would be in that similar vein of style, which is not a bad style. And what did they? Who's doing the music on the show? Is it also what's her face?
No, it's not. I think it's like a mix of like Kamasi Washington, Bonobo, and there's one other person. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting their name, but Kamasi Washington is a goat of awesome angry jazz.
Yeah, so at the very least, a very similar style that I was hoping for. But the synopsis is, it's the year 2052, and the world is at peace and prosperous because they have been given this drug, this prescription drug that cures all sickness and pain, thanks to Dr. Skinner, this just miracle cure-all that everybody takes. It's called Hapna, and Hapna becomes a bit of an issue because the Dr. Skinner, he vanishes, and then 3 years later he returns with a message saying, hey guys, I know you've taken this Hapna, that's great for you, but for the next 30 days, not so great for you, because this is actually a poison, and it's going to kill everyone.
You know what's going to happen to you? Death.
Yeah, exactly.
I see what you did there.
Hey,
Yeah.
we have jokes.
So So he then vanishes again. Like nobody knows where this guy is. And death is coming for the world in the next 30 days. And so a task force comes together of like these 5 people from some questionable backgrounds to save the world from Hapana and like find Skinner, find the antidote, and save the world. And the group called Lazarus. So that is the general background of this show. Very much Suicide Squad like, I think.
Don't they
That's a
mention
good
like,
analogy
aren't
for
we
it.
like the Avengers?
Yeah.
But bad super. Yeah, so yeah, you got it.
Yeah. So I was going in with like kind of I was hoping for the best, but also as the meme goes around here, I have yet to watch Cowboy Bebop. I know that's very shocking to people who don't know that. And I have seen Samurai Champloo, and generally I did like Samurai Champloo, but I wasn't going to be so upset if this show wasn't everything that I hoped and dreamed it would be. I was just going in with leveled expectations. So how about you guys?
Same thing. I've always enjoyed Watanabe's works, and maybe not as much as Cowboy Bebop. I feel like it has been kind of a steady decline in quality, but the thing that caught my attention for this was that they enlisted the coordinator from John Wick to help with the fight scenes. So I was expecting basically a visual tour de force with Watanabe themes thrown in.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment. Just to remedy my mistake earlier, Floating Points is also the artist doing music with the other 2, and he's pretty awesome. But I agree, Watanabe's kind of been on the decline recently. I mean, you know that's not going to be a good anime when they're promoting it. Like, I'm seeing ads for the show watching the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, this is, the big push of Adult Swim to be like, anime is relevant still, guys. Look we have this Watanabe fellow, and it looks cool, and it's by Studio Mappa. But I don't know. I think name only goes so far. What's the content here? And really, like in my notes, I don't have much here except that for Lazarus, I just wrote good, but not.
Yeah, I kind of felt similar because there are some good qualities about it. It's just I've seen other shows with the same good qualities, but better. Like, for example,
go ahead. Yeah.
I thought that, the main character, as we mentioned, questionable backgrounds, comes from prison. He is like an acrobat. He's a professional parkour artist here.
Yeah, he is.
And it's cool. Like he's running around, he's flipping around, he's doing these really interesting, chase scenes and all that. The only thing is that it's Mugen from Samurai Champloo. It's very similar. He just doesn't have a sword. And, a good fight style can only take you so far, especially when a lot of the episodes after that are kind of just boring, like searching for this guy. It doesn't really feel like they're getting anywhere,
It overall seems like a really lame setup just to have a bunch of slick parkour action. Like, it is fun watching him run up walls and spin, and, oh, he's doing a handstand again. Wow, so kooky. But this whole, save the world by finding this guy who, it just seems a little bit of a stretch. I mean, I think the visuals are good, and I like a lot of the ideas. There's a really cool, parallaxing effect used in episode 1, halfway through, of just, showing this guy's office as it moves around. There are good ideas throughout this thing. But I just find, the show is boring, and not just because you're watching this guy run around for 20 minutes an episode. It's just there's not much meat to it.
And then I'm kind of questioning things like, okay, so this is a group of ragtag criminals. Where's the funding coming from? They have all this special gear. They're in a cool hideout with cloaking abilities. So are they actually funded by the government? It doesn't look like it. And then also, when they get to the bunker, this bunker that they hope that Skinner is in, and they find a guy, and he's in a chair, and he's slumped over the chair. It looks like he's dead. They're not sure if it's Skinner or not. And then eventually they have this whole shootout, this whole battle in the room, and this guy's not flinching. He's just slumped in the chair. His head is down. And then it turns out this guy is not Skinner. and he's also completely conscious.
Well, he
Why
wakes
are you
up.
sitting in a chair in the middle of an empty bunker, just slumped in a chair? You're not even. Are you? Were you actually passed out and
He
you just did
wakes
not
up
hear
when they
all of
turn
this
the lights
ruckus?
on. Not when they shout or shoot guns or any of that, but just when they flip the lights on is when he's like, what? Like, this show is fun. It's not meant to be thought about too seriously. It's just an action romp for Watanabe to flex his Mappa budget and have cool music playing, and it does that. And I'm not trying to take anything away from it. But it just seems like he took the camaraderie and swagger of his previous shows in Bebop and Champloo and said, now kiss. And then everything that wasn't awesome just got churned out. And this just feels like a byproduct show. And it's not abysmal. It has its merits. It's just lackluster compared to, I think, what our expectations were going in. And it just, I don't know. If you're going to tout your big name director, it's got to live up to big name director vibes. And it just doesn't to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like it's carried by the action more than the story. And that's a lot of people's chief complaint about, say, like, Demon Slayer. I tend to disagree, but for me in this instance, I feel like this is an example where the action carries the story.
But even
and
if
there's
the
not much, like you
story
said.
was this lackluster, the writing, the dialogue between the characters, the banter is so forced. And so, like, the cutaways of, like, like a talk show segment with a pop star. It's like, hey, you're releasing your new album next month, but if we're all dead, no one's going to be here to hear it. And well, she's like, well, no one will be around to watch this show.
Yeah.
Like, why?
And
why? What? I didn't give us much.
And then it feels like, so when at the in the first episode, they're going to get what's his face, our main guy,
Axel,
into their group. And it looks like everybody in this group has been, like, part of the group for a while. Like, that's the vibe you get. But in subsequent episodes, it's like they're just meeting. Like, they're like, oh, so what did you do before this?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm like, wait a minute, you guys don't know how long have you guys been connected? And why are you why were you so feverishly going after this random guy if you were not, like, a staunch member of this group already?
I mean, we're just ragging on this show, but they're like, oh, we've been searching for him for months. And this girl's like, okay, I got a lead. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I Googled him. Like, oh, I can use it. Just things it's a convenient show. It's a fun watch. Put it on. Don't think too hard. You'll have a good time. Are we going to fail Lazarus? Is that the vibe I'm getting?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Well,
It doesn't help that the opening is trying so hard to be Bebop. It is Bebop in every way except interesting.
God, I think with that,
The colors, the silhouettes, the jazz, it's all Bebop inspired, but it's nothing that
It ain't
you
Tank.
want to watch.
anyway,
it's not Tank.
we're gonna fail this one. I thought that had a chance, but it was not to be. Will this next one fare any better? I think this is a raggedy pick. Anyone want to talk about it? Anyone feeling passionate?
Yeah, I'll talk about it. I can talk about
You
it.
want to take this one? Yeah.
So I find the title to be ironic because Kowloon generic romance is anything but generic. It is on Crunchyroll, and it is a multi-studio production, TV Tokyo, mostly I think Bandai. But essentially it's a story, it's a distant future. You have individuals who they live in Kowloon, which is a walled city. It's a slum, it's decrepit, it looks dirty, everything looks rusted and old. But it's pretty much a refuge for the Hong Kong of the past. So your main female character is a realtor whose name is Reiko Kujirai. And her coworker Hajime Kudo is with her. And basically, they're in a place where they're realtors and there's chemistry there, obviously. But then, they find out that there's more to their relationship. And there's a lot more to Kowloon itself. And I've struggled with how I wanted to talk about how I felt about this show because it's kept me interested all through the first 7 episodes, but it still hasn't done a great job of explaining itself because there's that lingering mystery of what exactly is going on here, because they bring up the topic of possible clones or other selves, and it gets very, I still don't fully know what is going on in this show.
Yeah,
It,
I agree
it
about that.
it's I don't know. It's
But
drawn in an older anime style, so it looks like something out of the 90s, which completely seems on purpose. And I like Reiko. I'm rooting for her, but the overall story just has me like I don't know what exactly is happening here.
yeah, and I agree to that. However, I feel a little bit more hopeful about it because as it's going on, they give me bits and pieces, and I'm like, I'm starting to put the puzzle together. Like, if this was like a big jigsaw puzzle, I have now kind of separated a lot of the pieces, and I got the border done. And I'm separating the pieces. I'm like, okay, the oranges go over here, the reds go over here, and it's still a mess. And it might take me a while to put together, and I might have to resort to looking at the box for the most part. But I can see myself finishing the puzzle, and it's not too daunting, it feels like, yet. And it's kind of interesting, like, and you talk about, like, they're throwing in a lot of sci-fi elements here that you're not sure is going to stick the landing yet. But so far, I agree. I really like our main character, Reiko. I think she's really fun, and her character design is really cute. The only thing is that, okay, so possible spoiler. So if you want to go into this show clean, I highly recommend you do. But just small bits of spoilers here. So Reiko's other self, I do not like at all. She looks and acts so old. And maybe that's part of maybe she is like an older version of her or something. That's currently my theory. Like, maybe not clearly like, oh, she was sent back from the past, because they do seem like totally different people, but maybe that other version of her was older. But it just makes it uncomfortable when you kind of realize that she has like a relationship with Kudo, so it kind of doesn't really, I don't ship them. I ship Reiko A and Kudo, but not Reiko B. I don't, and her smile and her lipstick and her voice, like the voice actress did well to create a different voice for this other Reiko, but I don't like the cadence. It's just, it gives granny vibes, as I've mentioned. So I can't ship them. I know I'm probably not supposed to because, she's not here anymore, but I just don't really feel, every time she comes on screen, I'm like, ugh,
Yeah.
And also the villain, the freaking doctor. God, that is the worst
tongue
part of the show. The snake tongue, the inappropriate, like the several instances of people kissing Reiko unwarranted.
Mm-hmm.
It happens too much, and it's this guy who's supposed to be really handsome, and he looks like Orochimaru. It's just so icky, and he has the lipstick on. I'm like, no.
I think he's supposed to be creepy, and he does a good job of it, but I do not like that character at all.
Yeah.
This is the most I don't know show of the season, between the constant sexual harassment and like wanting that waifu bait etchiness but not like fully committing enough, and some really interesting themes on authenticity and nostalgia and romance and this whole side thing. This show gives me very much, for good or worse, summertime render vibes. Like, it's a great looking adaptation. There's more going on, but it really comes down to how it plays out at the end, and it's really hard to judge in these early stages because, it's promising, but it really could fall apart. And so far, personally, like, as with the manga when I tried it out, I'm not finding it as substantive as the visuals seem to indicate, because it looks good, but the show just doesn't make me feel. They wax poetically about romance and nostalgia, but I don't feel that. They talk about the city and they're recreating it and all this, but it doesn't feel genuine to me. And that's, I think, part of it. The show is dealing with those themes and people who get plastic surgery and people who don't see themselves as they are and all these things going on. It has a ton of potential to be interesting and make some unique observations, but I haven't gotten that yet, and I don't know if I trust that the show will get there. Comparing it to what I've read of the manga, I think they are missing some key elements that build character, such as her not trying to wear glasses, and they're really blitzing through those romantic encounters, which, as I said earlier, are pretty much just sexual harassment fantasies that just feel off. But I think that's the point. I think the show is supposed to make you feel uneasy and uncertain and unsure of what will happen next, and that is a major props that I can give, especially in a anime landscape that is so well trodden, and you know what will happen 2 episodes from now all the time. So I'm mixed on this. If you guys wanted to pass it, I wouldn't object.
Yeah, I was a bit mixed going into it as well, because as you said, like there are certain things, like mysteries are so hard because it really does depend on how it lands, and you just never know. But I was starting to get really, I think one of the things that really got me into believing in this show a little bit more than I was those dramatic scenes. And maybe like you're not really into like the whole plastic surgery thing, like that kind of the drama scenes regarding that. But at the very least, I think the dramatic portions involving Kudo and the fact that he is working around a person that looks just like his deceased fiance, and how he deals with like lingering feelings of affection, and are these just carryovers from, you know, seeing the person that looks exactly like your ex-fiance, or are these real feelings? And for Kujirai, vice versa, are these lingering feelings of being cloned? It's just really that's good, and they're digging into that, and it's not like black and white. Do I like this person? Like it's complicated, and I really appreciate that.
Do we need to have her
I think for
sweating
me-
so much while she's painting, though? Like, come on.
Yeah.
There's clearly no air conditioning in
Yeah.
the city.
Oh,
just
dear.
commit to
I
the
think
bit.
I probably would feel. I was
ahead,
just gonna say, I think I'll feel different about the show once it's complete. It just hasn't given me quite enough to make me clear where it's headed yet, and that might be part of the lure. Is you're trying. It's a mystery at the end of the day. Like, what is it? Where's it gonna end up? So, but I don't feel poorly about the show. That's where my
yeah.
struggle lies.
So it's very mixed. I think we're all feeling very mixed about it. I'm leaning towards passing it because at the very least it has promise. It's not something that we don't know if it's going to be good or bad, and I think that has value in itself. So I'm willing to put a pass on this. But
Okay.
Up to
What
you
are our
guys.
scores looking like on this one? I want to see where
I think
we're
I
at.
gave it a.
I'm trying to. I don't even. My brain is crashing so hard right now. I gotta go to our secret spreadsheet. What do you think, Otaku?
So after the first 3 episodes, I gave it my score. I think it's done enough to warrant a pass because I want to see where it finishes. It's dangled enough carrots in front of my face that I feel comfortable saying that I'd be okay passing it too.
It's not one of my favorites of the season, but I'm not against it. So I think that we should pass Kowloon Generic Romance and I guess roll the dice and hope that it pulls through with something that we dig by the end. Sound good?
Yep, sounds good.
Groovy. Yeah.
Very
Oh my God,
retro
fantastic
drop
show.
for a retro show. So we now have Kowloon Generic Romance added to the plate. We have 4 shows, 4 reviews. We have 2 slots left. Will any of these next ones take it? What is next? The beginning after the
next
end.
one's my show.
Yeah, oh,
That's my show.
You've been hyping this one up for a millennia.
My brother in Christ, if there was ever a stark contrast of the adaptation not matching the source, this is the shining knight, the prime
is, yeah.
example. This has upset the beginning after the end community so much.
okay, I need to know everything because as we were talking in our little group chat, and you know what? You take it away. I want to know everything.
Jesus.
Point on
first
the
of all,
doll where the show hurt you.
They should change the title of the anime to the beginning after the slideshow. It's awful.
Yeah.
The animation is awful. But it is it's on Crunchyroll, it's Studio ACAT. And I talked about this franchise on a Hobby Addicts. I have read every chapter of the manhwa on Tapas. I have read every chapter of the light novels up through volume 12. I am a beginning after the end diehard, and this adaptation has absolutely broken my heart. Because the way that they've adapted some of the characters, specifically Sylvie, looked awful. Arthur and Tessia. It's supposed to be an adaptation of the first couple of volumes, and it's just falling short on the mark. Like, the story, the pacing's fine. The pacing is covering as it should. The first part is all about Arthur. He's King Gray in his previous life, dies reincarnated, ends up in this world. He's a super talented child prodigy with magic. It's got all the right recipes for a good isekai. And you even have your cute elf girl thrown in for good measure. But the anime is so poorly drawn. It just completely ruins the project for me. And I was so looking forward to the show this season, and I could not in good conscience pass it. Hell, on Mal it's got a 5. Like, it's not good.
Terrible.
That's impressive.
It's not good.
Caroline has given it a 3 though. So
Okay,
it's
okay,
not
okay.
all bad.
Okay. Listen to me. So everything about this synopsis screams I'm an isekai number 3,452. It is
Yes.
everything. Got the OP pro tag. He's not black haired, but he's still dark haired. Everything is kind of there. Except I found myself kind of getting into this, for some reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because, it's about a character realizing love. He's just finding out what love means and family. And
What is this warmth? What is
Yeah.
kindness? Oh shoot, I pooped
He's
my
your
pants.
typical character. I don't know what this feeling is. What is this goosebumps on my skin?
It's
I don't know
love.
What is this?
And yes, he is OP, but it does recognize that he is in the body of a 5-year-old. He's going to be flung around no matter how much magic power he imbues into his little body.
Right.
So I appreciate that. They kind of lessens the amount of OP-ness in this character. I kind of like Tessia. I like this it's very diet jobless reincarnation.
Well,
But I was getting into it.
I was going to say the author is a self-professed huge fan of the Mushoku Tensei franchise, and
There
it
you
largely
go.
inspired this whole project. And the elements of the story in its beginning are there. It's nothing about the characters or the story that bothers me. It is the animation. The animation ruins it for me. It
Okay.
ruins it for me.
That being said, I have a tendency to not think about animation until it's pointed out to me. And with this show, I already knew that it was not like greatly animated, but I was not bothered by it. Which is why I watched like 4 episodes of this show until I finally went on Mal to log that. Like, I just breezed through like 4 episodes and then go to Mal. And I'm like, oh my god, that's a 5.25. And I was shocked. Because in my opinion, this show is at worst a mid-6. It's not great, but it's not a terrible show. And I didn't think the animation was that bad, but I'm sure you were looking for that in the thing that you want to see animated. You want to see how well it's animated. This show is just another show that I had on my docket that I had to get through the other day. So I was shocked. Because, again, it's not a great show, but I do think standard isekai fare, it's not the worst option. That would be Black Summoner.
I mean, to justify Caroline, and in a sense Otaku, like, yes, watching the show, I can see the elements that make it a fun watch. It makes it endearing, makes it a good power fantasy, wish fulfillment. Like, it does the formula, but it does it well. Like, I get where you're coming from in the appeal, and I'm sure it grows and the story is fun. I get all that. But yeah, it's a poorly produced show, not just visually, but the Foley effects, the act. Like, it's just not a good product. And
oh my god, the bubble heads. This baby bubble head. That was the first thing I noticed. His head is huge. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I guess, there's just so many other options. If you're gonna do generic stuff that's pretty, in the same vein of Mushoku Tensei, yeah, it's not as like gross feeling as Mushoku Tensei, but like
there is no taking of the slave girl. It's releasing the slave girl. That's what we are looking for.
I mean, that's what I kind of build it as. It's Mushoku Tensei minus the ecchi.
Yeah.
And it gets there. There's so much that they won't even be able to touch on, and it just makes me sad because I know how poorly it's been received that my hopes of the later stuff being adapted probably won't ever happen.
Then again, Kingdom survived season 1, so
that's a good point. Maybe another
what I'm saying is there's a
over.
chance, but I think there's no chance of this passing.
So you're saying there's a chance? No, fail this.
Just
fail
another
this now.
comment though before we fail it. Sylvia got me. Like, I was surprised how much I felt for this character in one episode. So I guess that must be carryovers from a not so poorly written manga.
Yeah, it must be well written if some of it's shining through all of that turd. But in the words of
like
Gandalf,
her, just like say, call me grandma one more time, and I'm like, Sylvia,
you know me so well.
Let's be a family member. But fail.
To no one's surprise, but a 5, that's a good sign. Let's see, what do we have next? Oh, I think we're gonna fight. I think it's time to fight. We have Anne Shirley.
Oh, I'm so ready.
Shirley.
I'm so hyped to argue with
I'm
you
so
guys
ready.
about this.
Okay, so that was on my list. Another thing that I just put at the top of my list because, for hype reasons, and not that this show was like as hyped as like Lazarus or something like that, but more like I have heard of Anne of Green Gables for a very long time. Never have I ever watched or read anything related to Anne of Green Gables, and I have since, read the Wikipedia page of Anne of Green Gables, like getting an idea of like, what is this story and why do the Japanese love it so damn much? So, just based on my general interest, I have kind of gotten a handle of what the story is and how it's going to go, just generally, but I don't remember a lot of details. So I put it near the top of my list because I was really interested to finally, see a rendition of this story. In some way, shape, or form. So let me just pull up the synopsis because I did not do that before. On Shirley, as I mentioned, an adaptation of Anne of Green Gables, is an 11-year-old orphan. She has a vast imagination and a short temper, and in a twist of fate, she gets taken to the Cuthbert House in Avonlea in Prince Edward Island, Canada. She goes to live with Marilla? It's hard to do it in English. I keep on hearing it in Japanese. But Marilla and Matthew, who are brother and sister in older age, they were looking for a young boy to help out in their fields, but they were given Anne by mistake, unfortunately. But they come to love Anne and take her in anyway. And this is just the story of Anne's life from childhood to adulthood. So generally speaking, I think there have been other Anne Shirley or like Anne of Green Gables anime before, and I've heard that this is a very truncated version, shorter. So a lot of what happens in the show probably take course of many more episodes than what it was given. And I can feel it. I can there are some portions of the story where like, okay, this thing happens. So what? And we kind of don't really get the so what. Like, bring it home. Like, why was this included? Why did she break her leg? Was this just a moral of don't climb on high places? Or was there something more that connected it to a different story? Not sure. But, first episode, I was nervous. I was like, good God, Anne is freaking annoying. She is just too much. And yeah, like that's her character. Like she is like imaginative. So she's like, oh my gosh, over there, that's going to be called Sparkling Waters, this random lake. And we're passing by trees with flowers on it. Oh my God, was that just not the grandest thing you ever did see? And that's going to be called this. And the minstrel of the woods, this random meerkat or whatever, this gopher, whatever the heck it is, that lives in the woods. It's going to be called this. And it was like everything, every single sentence that she said in the first episode was something whimsical. And it was too much. It was very annoying. And I get it, she's a child. She's probably the most 11-year-old that we have ever did see in anime. Thankfully, after the first episode, it was not every single little thing that she said that was, oh my God, it was so magical. So that definitely made it a lot better for me. And by the midpoint of the show, I was definitely into it. I could see what you were talking about, Otaku Cop. Like it's a very chill and Ayashike, very, it's a nice story, it looks like. So I'm into it. You want to talk about it before?
Absolutely.
I ramble
so
on
for
more?
me, it is my comfort anime of the season, and I'll explain why. I was a Disney Channel kid, and in the 90s, they had I think it ran for 7 seasons, but it was called The Road to Avonlea, and it was pretty much an adaptation of the Anne of Green Gables books. So I was very, very familiar with this whole story going into the anime. And I at first, I wasn't expecting much because I was thinking to myself, that is a very long-running, multi-yeared story. I don't know how they're going to make a 12-episode anime out of it. But watching the character, and I am a Matthew Cuthbert defender. I will die for Matthew Cuthbert. And
Defend him from what?
Who's attacking
no, from
your own
anybody.
boy?
Anyone who
Who's
tries to
attacking
slander
Matthew?
him.
Okay,
Anybody
fair.
who tries to slander Matthew, like maybe Mason will eventually attempt to slander Matthew.
Matthew,
Wow.
Undoubtedly.
You
mindless
think,
bastard.
you think I'm so villainous?
I will defend Matthew, but it hit all my nostalgia vibes from the show that I watched growing up. And I think that it is incredibly charming and lighthearted, and it just ticks a lot of boxes that make it fall delightfully into a comfort anime. And I think it does its job very well. And I have enjoyed every episode that I've watched of it so far.
Mason.
Wow.
Mason, kill
coming.
us, kill the bird, kill the flower that we are growing here.
Okay.
That's right.
I guess we gotta rewind. We talked about Lazarus. It has to contend with the high bar of Watanabe successes in the past, and that's difficult. This show has to deal with the original version, the 50-episode masterclass by Ghibli legend Isao Takahata. And this is a similar position to the not envious position of Legend of the Galactic Heroes remake, where the high bar is a forebearer that invites you to pick between, do I watch the new updated visual version, or do I watch the old classic one that might look a bit older and move a little bit slower? I'll tell you what, I'm not picking the version with the frickin' fisheye lens because the poor girl has a 5 head enough as it is, and that's doing her no justice. Jokes aside, the original Anne of Green Gables I have seen. It's not my favorite show ever, but this remake is the, if you will, the American Kewpie Mayo version. It's the same ingredients, but they're watered down across the board. The characters, the writing, the pacing, the backgrounds, the atmosphere, it's all gone. And I couldn't make it past episode 1 of this, so maybe it does get better.
Ow.
But I want to try to highlight an instance of why this version, the speedrun version, is so much worse than the original. And it's an indicator how the remake fundamentally fails. It's not a big thing at face value, but this show is not some grand, epic action series. This show is about the little moments, the character interactions. Yes, Matthew is precious. All the friends and interactions she has along her way are what make the show so good. So when you start messing with that, and messing with things like giving Gilbert red hair, you start to skew the story in a way that isn't great. But essentially, for those who don't know, orphan girl Anne is first being taken to her new home by Matthew, our shyly reserved father figure. And in this scene, one of their first conversations as Anne is going to her new family who she doesn't really know. Anne is recounting how people laugh at her for using big words. And she's like, but I have big ideas, so I need this verbosity. I need these big words for my big ideas. And for one thing, just to give you a sense of how quick this show goes, in the original, they have this conversation like 15 minutes into the episode. In this remake, they have it less than 5 minutes in. Like, they're blitzing through it. But here's the important thing. In the original, Anne is talking about her big ideas and kind of explaining herself. And she is very talkative, like she is in the new one, but she's nervous about it. She is going to a new family, a new life. And she's smart, but she's mindful of how she's being perceived. And she asks Matthew, she reaches out and says, hey, I'm using these big words. Do you agree that that's a fair thing to do? And she looks at him neutrally. And when he stammers, because he's a shy, beautiful boy, and we love Matthew, I never would attack him. When he stammers that, yeah, I guess that does make sense. That's a reasonable idea. She cracks a smile. She finds like the first sign of friendship between her and Matthew, and that kind of sets the stage for their thing. In the remake, Anne is extremely Genki, bouncing all over the screen, and she proclaims her thesis, oh, I use big words because I got big ideas. And she has this big, happy, goofy smile. She throws her arms up in the air, and she doesn't ask Matthew for his opinion. She just says, I got big ideas. And he's like, well, I guess that's reasonable. She doesn't react. She just stays in her pose, looking at him unchangingly, dead eyes, big goofy smile as this CG horse just pulls him along this green screen landscape. Like, no emotional resonance, no back and forth, no slight little interaction of how she changed or how he changed. They just kind of statically moved across the screen, both animation-wise and as characters. And missing that is like so crucial to everything that's going to come after that I just don't believe this will be a good show. I'm sure it looks great. I'm sure it has nice moments. But like, why would you watch this? Why? When you have the original. So I'm sure it's going to get past because people love it and they're not going to watch an old show. But I would say if you have a chance, there's a reason why the old one's a masterpiece. So that's my attack on the show. And why does Gilbert have red hair? He makes fun of her for having red hair in the original. Auburn. So he can't have red hair. Why did they do that?
I'll tell you one more thing that'll add to your frustration. You remember the hair dye incident?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was going to bring this up.
Yep. She magically the next episode has regrown her hair completely. No problem whatsoever.
It's buzz cutted.
Wow.
It's like, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, okay, this has to be a time skip, right? She has to be like 16 years old right now because that's the only way you can grow your hair back to that length. And even then, it's probably going to be a bob length for after 2 years of growing it. But no, she's like, I just turned 14. I'm like, okay, 2 months have passed. Girly pop. What the hell?
I'm not upset I missed that. So
it took out all of the emotion of that. I was so excited to see how she was going to deal with life looking like a boy.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed.
I could see why this would fall
why were
short
you
for
worrying?
Mason.
If you can grow your hair like Rapunzel.
It's I'm sure it's fine. I couldn't stand it. It was such a letdown of what could have been just a pretty solid visual update on things. Because yeah, she looks real goofy in the original. I'm not gonna defend how the show looked, but it had charm. So I guess I leave this pass up to you guys.
So I will say that, I mean, being completely blind, I knew, even knowing like without knowing exactly what was the deal with the original version, I knew that it was truncated. Like it was all fit in. But I have found things to enjoy. Like I have come to enjoy the story so far. And just the style of it, like Anne is such a non-typical anime main character because she does have she's imaginative and Genki as hell, but she's a freaking monster. She is so rude.
She's such a good character.
Her temper, her temper is something else. Like she's not just, if a character says something mean to her, she's not just like, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. No, she physically assaults this boy with a freaking blackboard, a chalkboard.
Blackboard.
He breaks it over his head. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're crazy. And I love it. I'm like, that is a, it's not fun. It's more like, this is a character that we don't typically get.
She's such a wild card, though. Like, she's a kid and believable in ways. You don't know if she's just going to break down crying or go on an angry poetic rant. Like, she's awesome in so many ways. But I get that the original is probably too slow for a lot of folks. I understand that. I guess I would just try that version instead. But what do you guys think?
I think I would eventually try out the original. Like, this is a good starting point to get me into it. I think it's a good, introduction to a story that people might not have heard of before. Because I've kind of heard about Anne of Green Gables, but I really did not know what it was about and did not really feel interested in trying it out before. Just another random comment about something that's happened in the show. So Gilbert, I kind of know his deal. Like, they're kind of like the enemies to lovers kind of thing, sort of. And he calls her Carrots because of her hair, and she gets freaking pissed. And as I mentioned, like, breaks a blackboard over his head. And that's one thing. But then she holds this grudge for years. And that was the only instance of him being mean to her, was calling her Carrots, which honestly, it's not that bad. Like, I've heard a lot worse insults. And ever since the moment he says it, ever since that moment, he's been trying to make up for it. He's been trying to ask for her friendship. He has apologized multiple times. He has saved her freaking life. And she still will not accept anything but just animosity. She would kill this guy if she was able to. But then you have the neighbor, the one, I forget her name, the friend of Marilla's. And the first time that she meets Anne, she calls her ugly and short and like these like far worse than Carrots. Like, she goes on and on about how terrible how Anne looks, and then Anne gives it back to her, as she should. And then her apology is hilarious. Like, the sarcasm dripping from this dramatic apology, I thought was amazing. That's the moment that I started liking her, or liking the show in general. But after that, this dripping with sarcasm apology, she calls her like auntie or something like that. She's just another part of the community. Like, they're friendly towards each other. And I'm thinking to myself, why the hell are you friendly to this woman who would call you ugly the next day if she could? Why are you friendly with her? But with Gilbert, you look at him like he's a monster in disguise, when he has done everything he could possibly do to make it up for you in the meantime. Over 2 years.
Gotta mask those feelings that are deep down inside.
That's right.
I just don't get it. Like, it can't just be a tsundere thing.
I don't know, and just be built different. So what's the verdict on this?
Okay, so Otaku Cup, you have nothing to explain about that? It's unexplainable?
It's unexplainable. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the show is a good lure to bring people into that world. I find it to be passable. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a good way to get people into the story. It might be the speed version, but I think it will allow us to at least talk about the original version in the future with people kind of understanding what it's about.
Mason will make sure to redirect us all to that original.
That's fine. I have been outvoted and outgunned, but with that, we have our second pass of the day. And
just one final note, Marilla.
That's a bingo.
I love her. She is such a Soon. She is so good. She's so strict, and she is so straight-laced and kind of like, but she's just it's just peering into a little heart, and it beats for Anne, and she loves Anne so much, and it's so sweet.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, we have one show left to do impressions on, and we have one pass slot left. So this, by all accounts, if it's good, it'll make the list. And that is Sword of the Demon Hunter Kijin Getso show. So, who picked this, and what is it all about? I think it was
pick
Otaku.
this? Oh,
This
okay.
one? No,
No?
this one isn't mine.
No? Whose
Who
is
picked
it?
it?
Who picked this show?
No,
Maybe is this another one of Raggedy's? No.
Maybe.
Is there somebody else who couldn't? Oh no, was somebody else not supposed to be on this show
It was
originally but couldn't
Caroline.
make it?
This was your number 3 pick.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought I had Lazarus and Anne Shirley.
Yeah, you also had this
Oh,
as your
but
number 3.
3 of them.
Yeah,
Oh,
you got
okay.
3. You have 19 roll. You got 3 picks.
Okay.
And
Um,
I did not.
Yeah,
have-
here we go.
Yeah.
Sword of the Demon Hunter.
Yeah.
It's my pick, apparently.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. So, this is a story about Jinta, who runs away with his sister Suzune from their home as children. They're like small kids. Taken in by this guy they found randomly, Motoharu, takes them to his village where he has a biological daughter, Shirayuki, and they form a little family. It's very cute. This village has a shrine maiden, the Itsuki Hime, and she kind of runs the show there. But there's also demons that are trying to kill everybody, especially the Itsuki Hime, who's like the leader of the village. They were successful, unfortunately. So flash forward several years, and Shirayuki, the daughter of Motoharu, who brought in Jinta and Suzune, she becomes the Itsuki Hime. And Jinta becomes kind of like her bodyguard. He's good with a sword. He kills off the demons, protects the village, protects her. Suzune has remained a child for some reason. And she has an eye that is hidden by bandages, so she looks very much like a Chunibyo.
How
if you will.
mysterious. Ooh.
And I'm trying to figure out how much should we give away without spoiling things, because like the first episode is an hour long. But it's basically the story across many years, like almost 200 years, in fact. The battle between Jinta and demons just traverse past that time. And he is on a journey. He's on a mission to defeat this all-powerful demon that has been prophesized to amass a lot of power in the next 170 years. So it's him going from his backstory, which is covered in that first hour-long episode, and travels with him throughout the years, throughout Japan, until we reach modern day and the battle occurs. So that's kind of the general feel of the show.
Yep. I think it's doing a pretty good job. Like, we were having a discussion in our host chat that there wasn't anything really violent this season. I think this is easily the most violent anime of the season.
We see
hands
a decapitated body in the first episode.
There's a ton of action in this show. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. The problem is talking a lot about it will spoil so much.
Yeah, so we kind of have to be kind of vague about it, because a lot happens in that first hour-long episode.
Yes.
But generally speaking, something happens that traumatizes Jinta and sets him off on this journey. And a lot of it hits close to home, if one could say that.
Yes.
But yeah, so far, it's fairly mature. It's going to be a travel show, kind of on the heels of Demon Slayer, but not so shonen. And dealing with some demon powers, hunting them down. Some people believe in demons, some people don't. Yeah, honestly, it's kind of promising. For me, anyway. I think I will at least continue it if we don't pass it here or not.
Nice.
Mason.
What do you think, Mason?
I didn't follow up on this show past episode 1, mostly because episode 1 was an hour long. I was pretty mixed on this. Like, for most of the episode, I'd say I felt pretty negative. It was full of scenes that tried to be artistic, with characters speaking with no sound, sudden timeline shifts, but it ended up being, it felt awkward more than anything else. And I wasn't really getting into the characters. I felt kind of flat. The writing was atrociously expository. The visuals and fight choreography was kind of just mid at the beginning. But then like the last 5 minutes or so, like really just ramped up twists and developments, and left like a lot be like, oh, this like might be starting to cook, like just a really long introductory kind of thing. It really didn't inspire me to continue watching it though, so it felt just kind of like generic Edo samurai monster slop with like a bit of a time element going on with it. So I wasn't really endeared to it, but I don't know, it just felt like a very what like everyone's mom thinks anime looks like. There's monsters and there's fighting and there's samurai because they're from Japan, and I don't know. I guess I didn't get a sense of any flavors going on in this show.
Yeah, I can agree to being mixed on this too. There's a lot of mixed feelings in this impressions episode.
Yeah.
Because I could see the potential, but I can also see the potential of it falling flat. Especially, is it? Wait a minute. I don't think they have. Okay, so there's a question mark to how many episodes it's going to be. We don't know if it's going to be 12 or 24 or 62. Who knows?
Yeah.
It feels like it's going to be a 2-core thing, the way that
It does feel like a 2-core. We just don't know. So it's, this one is hard to say. It
I
really
will say
could go
this,
either way.
I without spoiling anything, one of the elements that I like about this show is it's not just like all demons bad, because he has encounters with several demons. Some he's trying to hunt for specific reasons, and others who are integrating themselves into human society and are just trying to live their life. And their individual stories, I think, are what at least this first 7 episodes are built around, is demon hunting, but not all demons bad. And it just, there's all these individual stories thrown into to really build that world. I think the world building as the show has progressed has become the strength of the show. That, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was a little I was questioning like what the heck was going on with the demons versus humans thing, because you would think in this village they would be very against having demons in it.
Mhm.
And just based on the fact that Suzune is still looking like an 8-year-old girl after 10 years have passed, you would think they would start to question that a little bit. And I'm thinking to myself, like, are they secluding her, like, in the house? Like, is she not, like...
Yeah.
Is she a secret? Not really. She's not. She seems to be living a normal life. And, Shirayuki is acting like this is all normal. She's not questioning who she is or what she is. So what's the deal? And they don't get into that. And I don't know if they ever will get into that.
I don't know. I guess I can understand like the mixedness of the show, and like maybe it'll really come into its own later, and the world building has been good, but like I don't know, this show doesn't have Reiko from Kowloon Generic Romance, and she is very attractive. And like if we're putting it on the same, like, oh, maybe it'll be good one day, like it's not in the same tier. I think we leave it up to the listeners to pass this one if they really want to.
Yeah,
like it just hasn't sold me.
I'm inclined to agree.
I don't know. Like I said, I only gave it 1 episode. Maybe it needs that extra development to sell me on it, but I'm not. I think
especially
we just
considering this could be a 2-core show. We don't know, and that would require a lot more input and a lot more investment
for
into
sure.
this.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it different from Kowloon Generic Romance, which we know is only 1 core. And if it's bad for 12 episodes. If this is bad, it's bad for 24, possibly.
I guess I just feel like Kowloon is bad in somewhat interesting ways. Like this one is just
nice.
I don't know. I feel like I know exactly what I'm signing up for, but
it's okay. I think it falls into the category of good enough for me to keep watching, but I don't think it's good enough for me to pass.
I agree. I'm going to keep watching it as well, but I can't feel strongly enough to pass it right now.
Well, with that, we will fail this one then.
Shame. 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 Shame.
And that brings us to the end.
Sorry.
Of spring.
We did
I was going to say.
Yeah.
But if we were talking about Rock as a Lady, I'd be like, let's pass that.
Well, so,
But I
okay,
guess that's
here's the
not
thing.
in our rule book.
We're doing a review officially on Gundam G-Quox, To Be Hero X, Witch Watch, Kowloon Generic Romance, and Anne Shirley, which means there are 4 slots available for a listener choice to pass. What shows Caroline, otaku, do you want to give a last, like, for your consideration? What do you think people should vote for? Or at least a personal
Mentioned
bid.
before, I highly recommend Rocket's Lady's Modesty. I think that would be a fun review. So that would be my pick.
Otaku, are you going to offer anything to the sacrificial pyre?
No. My the one that I had all behind has taken all my air away. Beginning after the end just broke my heart. So I'll let the listeners pick what they want. I'll let their hearts guide them. I can't support anything
love
any more
left
than
in
I
the
already
heart.
have.
Yeah.
You cannot trust how you feel anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, I think people should check out Rock as a Lady. I don't think Apocalypse Hotel is going to get enough love, but I would love to see it get some votes. I wouldn't be disappointed if Mono had a good showing. I could see that being a good one. But as always, vote with what you really, truly want. And there will be a retro review option on there. Just a general, like, hey, something not from this current season. And we'll see what happens. So follow.
How about the original Anne Shirley?
Oh,
that will
my
be our
goodness.
retro review.
Head to head. Good luck convincing anyone to watch 50 episodes of
the show that they are currently
painstakingly
watching.
snail-paced
Of.
Canadian redhead carrot girl cries. But yeah, make sure you check out AAAPodcast.com. Be on the Discord, follow the socials, not just to get news and updates and know actually what we're going to review next week, which we don't know. We don't know. We had scheduled a review,
it's up in the air.
and we're gonna pivot a bit. But more importantly, vote for listener choice. Do the Family Feud survey if you haven't already, or just any future game show surveys we have coming out. We do them all the time. They're a ton of fun. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Otaku, for covering me today in my hazy brain fog. And support us if you want. If not, have a great rest of the week, a great rest of the month, your life. I don't know, but we hope to see you again in the future. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
See you in the
and
next
remember, join Anime Club on our Discord every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. ET, though that might be up for change in the future. Just check the pin notes for directions and let us know you want to join. Bye!
Bye!
Thanks for listening, everybody.